Today, we're going to talk about a really critical shift in how we build software. It's this idea of moving from just using AI as a co-pilot to actually becoming an AI orchestrator. And trust me, this isn't just a new job title. It's a whole new way of thinking and working.
So let me ask you something. Think about your day-to-day work. You're using tools like GitHub Copilot, right? But is that AI just a helpful assistant, speeding things up a little? Or could it be something more? How you answer that really gets to the heart of what we're digging into here.
Because here's the thing, there's a hidden danger in just relying on that Copilot model. It's so easy to slip into becoming what the source material calls a lazy, uncritical copy-paster. You start doing what's called vibe coding, where you just kind of paste things in that feel right, but you lose that deliberate, careful engineering that makes a product truly solid.
Okay, so if the Copilot approach has these real risks, we've got to evolve. The answer isn't to ditch AI, not at all. It's about fundamentally changing how we engage with it. And here's the difference in a nutshell. On the one hand, you've got the AI Copilot, which is tactical. It helps you with little one-off tasks. But on the other hand, you have the AI Orchestrator. This role is strategic. You're not just doing a task, you're conducting the entire process, weaving together multiple AIs into one coherent system.
So, let's get into it. What exactly is an AI orchestrator? Let's put a real definition to this.
At its heart, an orchestrator conducts and integrates. But honestly, the most important part of that whole sentence is the end. Human validated. You are not just a passive receiver of AI output. You are the final checkpoint, the quality gate that makes sure every single piece fits together and works perfectly.
I love this analogy they used. It just makes it so clear. A co-pilot, they're helping chop the vegetables. But an orchestrator, they're designing the entire menu, planning the whole kitchen workflow, and even managing the supply chain. It's a whole different level of thinking.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory. Right, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's look at a couple of real-world examples.
So let's start at the very beginning of a project. You have a big idea, a product vision, and you need to turn that into a concrete plan. This is where so many projects die, right in that fuzzy, ambiguous stage.
Now, in an orchestrator's workflow, it starts with the human vision. Then, you let the AI do the heavy lifting, generate a first draft of a user story map. But, and this is everything, step 3 is the human's job. This is where you critique, you find the gaps, you fix the weird AI mistakes, and you refine it into something real. The human is always in control.
Okay, let's get a little more technical. There's a huge problem with AI that the source calls the AI test trap. This is what happens when you ask an AI to write tests for code that might already be wrong. You know what it does? It writes perfect tests that confirm the broken behavior.
An orchestrator completely avoids this trap using a smart, test-driven development workflow. The human defines the function, the AI generates the tests, but, and this is the absolute key, the human goes in and manually corrects the expected outputs before writing any code. You make sure the tests define what's correct from the very beginning.
So we've seen how this mindset works for specific tasks. But now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because this philosophy doesn't just change how we build things, it completely changes how we should learn to build them.
Yeah, this isn't just some abstract idea. It's the foundation for a whole new approach to professional training. It's about moving away from these quick whirlwind tours of a topic and instead committing to a much more intensive deep dive to really master the material.
So we're talking about shifting from, say, a 24-hour sprint to a 40-hour deep dive. That's a huge increase in time. And it's not just about cramming in more information. It's about a totally different philosophy.
So what are you supposed to do with those extra 16 hours?
And this is the punchline. It's not about building more features. It's about building the same features, but with the depth, the resilience, the maintainability, all the stuff that's required for a real production-grade product.
And you can see how this all fits together in a 5-day structure. It follows a super logical path, right? You start with a high-level vision, then you dive into the back end, the front end, and you finish up with automation and deployment. Every single day builds on the last one.
Okay, so when you put it all together, the theory, the practical examples, what's the core philosophy we're actually talking about here? What is this new mindset?
Well, it all comes down to this one simple but really powerful mantra. AI-assisted, human-verified. The AI is there to help you, to speed things up, but the human, that's you, has to verify everything. You are the one who's ultimately responsible.
And here are the principles that make that mantra a reality. You critique first, then you accept. You treat everything the AI gives you as just a first draft. You always remember that you are the final validator. This is how you stop vibe coding and start doing real, deliberate engineering.
So let's wrap all this up. If there's just one thing you take away from this explainer, I want it to be this.
Being an AI orchestrator isn't just a new way to code. It's a strategic career move. In a world where AI can write the code, the person who can provide the vision, who can integrate, who can validate, that person becomes the most valuable player on any team. It is the future-proofed role.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. Are you just building projects, or are you architecting products? Are you just checking off tasks, or are you thinking about the entire system? Because the answer to that question is going to define your future.